Playtime's over, Star Fox.
Star Fox is essentially a series where people are flying through the air and they're shooting at each other, if you want to put it in the most simplest terms. However, there's a lot of story-wise to this, especially with the conflicts between Fox and his dead father, James McCloud, and his love interests with Crystal and such. But overall, it's kind of hard to do this research-wise of which one is the best Star Fox character, simply because they don't exactly fight each other physically, hand-to-hand combat. They fight each other with their landmasters and their spaceships and their stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna try and do my best to explain this. And I'm also kind of making this video last minute. Usually I have a lot more time, but it's almost finals week for school, so sorry, it's not gonna be the best. Anyway, so Fox and Falco and Wolf. So when it comes to the history of Star Fox, this, as a kind of disclaimer, the series is mostly based off of piloting skills in the air, so they don't exactly have a lot of combat on the ground facing each other. So it was kind of hard to place the Star Fox characters. However, I did do my best to try and see how they would do versus each other. So this one is going to be as closely, if these three were in a fight, as they could. They all are expert pilots, and they all have blasters and such, and they're pretty good at what they do. So that's Star Fox, the series, in a little bit of a nutshell. Also, with the lore of Star Fox, Fox and Falco knew each other, and they were in a school for a while, and they dropped out after Fox's dad James died, and they became part of Team Star Fox, and so they're kind of high school dropouts. But they're still pretty great at what they do. So let's get into it with Fox. Now, I'm no James McCloud, but I do know that Fox is one pretty impressive dude, especially since most of the time is spent up in the ships. Fox actually does a lot, simply just because he's kind of the main character of Star Fox in a way. He is the leader of Team Star Fox, which, not terrible, I mean, it's pretty good, all in all. He has his trusty blaster gun thing that he can use. He has his Shine ability, which is technically not exactly canon. It appears in Smash Bros. Because their ships have a hexagonal kind of deflector. He does use a Landmaster. He's also an amazing pilot when it comes to things. He has Red Fox. He never gives up. He is an expert with aerial stuff and machines and such. He's really good when it comes to combat, on the ground, for someone who spends so much time in the air. He's pretty fast on the ground as well. The theory for that is that it's his legs. They're not exactly there, and he can run really fast just because. He's his own boss of things. He doesn't like to take orders from anybody else, really. Occasionally he does some peppy. That's just peppy. He can kind of sword fight. I mean, he was in a sword fight at one point in the game, but that's not exactly 100% accurate. He does save Crystal from something. They have a relationship for a while, but overall, doesn't exactly work. He's beaten Andross twice, which says a lot, because Andross is that giant floating monkey head. And he doesn't like to use brute force, but he will when it's necessary. So, pretty decent kind of dude. He fought the Queen at one point. His last name is Scottish, which is actually kind of funny, because Wolf's last name is Irish, and the Scottish and the Irish don't like each other. So, fancy stuff. He can use a jetpack. He's pretty experienced overall, but we'll see how it compares with the other Star Fox characters. So, next up is Falco.
Hands off my prey!
Now, when it comes to Falco Lombardi, last name pronounced horribly incorrect, but I'm not gonna try that again. He's pretty hot-headed and red-tempered. Like, if he's bored for too long, he'll start picking fights with Fox, just for fun. No reason whatsoever. He doesn't like order necessarily. He likes to be more of his own, like, free bird in a sense. And similar to Fox, they have a lot of similar attributes. They have their blasters. He's somewhat decent at hand-to-hand combat. Not exactly the best at that. He does have a Landmaster. He's also an expert in piloting skills. He's very hot-tempered, but when he needs to be, he can be kind of cool and collected. It's not very often, but it happens every once in a while. He, once upon a time, rescued Skippy from... Yeah, Skippy. Nobody really cares. He sometimes will rely on Fox just because he thinks he can do everything by himself, but in reality he can't. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. He's the leader of his own group, which is Falco Group. I don't remember what it's called entirely, but he goes off and starts his own little aerial group after he got into an argument with Fox. He is the senior member of Marcus's team. Marcus is Fox's son. This is in the future from Star Fox. The lore is kind of a little awkward. He is a legendary pilot, and so are the rest of these characters. And in one of the endings, he actually goes and joins, like, F-Zero racing kind of stuff, which I actually see kind of frequently with a lot of these characters. He's actually the only Star Fox character to not wear gloves on his hands. All of the other ones wear some form of gloves. It's probably because he's a bird and he has, like, feathers, stuff. He's also very talkative. In the original Star Fox game, he had the most voice lines of dialogue out of all the characters. So he's very talkative. He also has his legs cropped off, so he's pretty fast. And, yeah. Overall, he's kind of more of a hothead, but pretty similar to Fox. Now, Wolf, on the other hand, the leader of the Star Wolf team. They are pretty much just like a group of, mercenaries, I guess, that are, hired by Andross to take down Fox and the other crew. But there's a little bit more to Wolf. He's kind of like a pretty shallow character in the Star Fox series. He wants to be the best. That's his main motive in life, and that's why he fights Fox frequently. Just because, he was involved with the death of James McCloud, which is Fox's father. Kind of, it's okay. He is respected, respected by Andross in a way. Just because they're kind of hired by Andross, they're not exactly, like, full-time working for him. He does have a bounty of his head of $30,000. I'll put the number on screen. Yeah, but that gets taken off after they're good citizens. He does respect Fox, actually. I think he kind of treats them as an equal, not exactly as, like, a rivalry all the time, more or less. He has an eye patch, which is pretty cool, you know. Eye patch, bad guy. He also gets all the dark, scary colors and the spikes. He craves fame and not money. This is actually important because it drives a lot of his motives. Because if he doesn't exactly, like, care about money all in all. He just wants to be famous, more famous than Team Star Fox. Team Star Wolf. He's actually the only character in Star Fox to be AI responsive. Like, if you do a barrel roll, he'll go, "What the heck?" And, he is the oldest of the characters that appears in Smash Bros. Because he knew, James McCloud when he was, like, a younger man. So he's probably, like, I'd say maybe 10 years older than Fox and Falco. Just because. Yeah, that's pretty much Wolf. in a nutshell. He's also an expert pilot. And yeah, not exactly too much to him. So when it does come to which Star Fox character is the best, they're all kind of on an equal playing field, for say, since we don't have a lot of combat and such to go off of. So I kind of just put their aerial skills to the test to see which one would be the best. And Falco's the best when it comes to like doing crazy maneuvers and stuff, but they're all like pretty good pilots regardless. So our best Star Fox character is Fox. Just because since he's kind of the main character, we do get to see a lot more of his abilities and such, and like personality. He's a really good leader, and the reason he makes the cut is kind of just because he's overall respected in a way. Like, Falco will rely on Fox frequently, but Falco can still do stuff on his own. But the fact that he relies on Fox for stuff every once in a while kind of just seems like he's a little bit less than a Fox in it, per se. And then Wolf just kind of is driven by fame. Not exactly like fame and such, and we don't really see any combat skills of him on the ground. So aerial-wise, he's kind of in between. It's kind of weird doing this episode because it's just really weird. So anyway, I'm letting Fox move on to the next round. If anyone has any issues with this, please let me know. This was really hard to research and figure out, but I'm pretty sure, I'm like 95% sure that Fox would be our winner. And if that's not the case, then it would probably be Falco, just because he's a little more reckless. But Fox is more like, I'm thinking about what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and yada yada. So that is my recommendation, kind of. So Fox will be moving on to the next bracket. Next time we will be covering Pokemon in a little bit of a different way, just because it's hard to cover Pokemon as well. So until then, I will see you next time. Bye!